21 it may be laid as the principal position, and the foundation of our system, that every citizen who enjoys the protection of free government, owes not only part of his property, but even his personal services to maintain it. 2. Banknotes have had an effect in your country that will have, to undermine trade, to oppress the honest, and open the door to every species of deception and injustice. 3. Whereas, when a nation becomes incapable of self-rule and fits for a master, it is a small consequence of a quarter of him coming. 4. Refrain from the drink which is the source of all evil, and the destruction of half the workers in this country. 5. But if the law is to be so trampled on with impunity, and the minority must dictate the majority, there is one end aimed at the Republican government, and nothing can be expected but anarchy and confusion afterwards. 6. I am for free trade with all countries, political relations with none, and little or no diplomatic stand. 7. I am principled against the sale of Negroes, just as you keep cattle on the market. 8. The willingness of our young men to serve in any war, however justified, will be directly proportional to how they viewed the veterans of the previous war to be treated and valued by their nation. 9. Part of the plan to create discord is, I guess, to make me say the things of others, and the other of me, WCH, has no basis of truth. The first, in many ways I know the case, and the second I believe so, but truth or falsehood is not important to them, provided that their object is promoted. 10. What a victory for the proponents of despotism to find that we are incapable of self-regulation, and that a system built on the basis of equal freedom is only ideal and wrong. 11. To enlarge the sphere of social happiness is worthy of the benevolent design of Masonic institutions, and the most expected is, that the conduct of every member of the fraternity, as well as those publications, which discovered the principles that moved them, may tend to convince mankind that the great object of Masonry is to promote the happiness of the human race. 12. The present time is near which may have to determine whether Americans will become free men or slaves, whether they wish to own property which they can call their own, whether their homes and farms would be robbed and destroyed, and they themselves exiled to a state of woe from which no human effort would deliver them. The fate of millions of unborn will now depend, under God, on the courage and behavior of these soldiers. Our cruel and unrelenting enemies leave us only the choice of courageous resistance, or the most despicable surrender. Therefore, we must decide to conquer or die. 13. While I reaffirmed the profession of my dependence on heaven, I will observe that there is no one who is extravagant in his morals, who might be able to be a true Christian. 14. Wake up early, that with the habit can become familiar, pleasant, healthy, and profitable. 15. I am principled towards the kind of traffic on the human species, and to disband my family has a reluctance. 16. 99% of failures are those who make excuses. 17. It is rarely the other way around that a conscientious face coquette dies in celibacy, as a punishment for his attempts to mislead others, by encouraging appearance, words, or actions, given for no other purpose than to attract men to make offers so that they may be rejected. 18. At a distance from the theater of action, truth is not always related without embellishment, and sometimes completely deviating from the misunderstanding of the causes that produce the effect that is the subject of reproach. 19. You would like me to say that a larger play is now acting in this theater than it was previously brought to the American stage, or any other in the world. Today we show amazing novels and spectacles of the whole people quietly discussing about what form of government is most conducive to their happiness, and decide with an unforeseen level of unanimity in favor of a system that they consider to be taken into account to answer the objectives. 20. I cannot imagine a more honorable rank than the rank that flows from the choice of brave and free people who are not corrupt, the purest source and the original source of all forces. 21. The rule of good conduct for us, with respect to foreign countries, is in expanding our commercial relations to have as few political connections as possible, Why? By weaving our destiny with that of every part of Europe, involve our peace and prosperity in the ambitions of European ambitions, rivalries, interests, humor, or conduct. It is our real policy to distance ourselves from permanent communion with any part of the alien world. 22. There is no more dangerous practice than borrowing money. 23. Only integrity and constancy can I promise. This, whether a long or short journey, will never leave me even if I am abandoned by everyone. For the comfort to be gained from this, under no circumstances, the world can uproot me. 24. What was done with the seed stored from Indian flax last summer? Everything must be sown again, that not only the stock of seeds sufficient for my own purposes may have been increased, but also to spread those seeds to others, because it is more valuable than hemp in general. 25. The consideration that human happiness and moral obligations are inseparable interconnected will always encourage me to promote the former by instilling the practice of the latter. 26. Try to stay alive in your breasts that are a little heavenly spark, called conscience. 27. The tumultuous population of big cities is always feared. 28. All saw, and most admired, the gaze that floated around the external ornament of the exalted office. For me there is nothing in it, beyond the luster that may be reflected in its relationship with the power of promoting human authenticity. 29. We must not look back, except to learn useful lessons from past mistakes, and for the purpose of profiting from purchased experiences. Being against things that are past and irreparable, unpleasant, but to abstain from the shells and stones which we have found, is part of wisdom, as great as is the political obligation of any other man, who has their own little bark, or the skin of others, to navigate through the intricate path of life, or the sea without a trace, to a paradise of security and rest. 30. We started a contest for freedom provided by means for war, relying on our patriotism to supply deprivation. We hope to face many of our desires and hardships, to have to endure the crimes and fortitudes of the present.